We're in Butano State Park in San Mateo County in the Santa Cruz Mountains. We're here looking at a fuel reduction project that we're doing in the state park here. It's part of a larger effort across Big Basin and Año Nuevo to protect these forests from future wildfire threats after decades of fire suppression. So I think the place to start when thinking about this project is the CZU fire in 2020. For a lot of people, that was really a wake-up call. We'd never seen a fire of that size with that kind of intensity in the redwoods before. In one single night, that fire grew about 40,000 acres. Hot, dry conditions, winds, and fuels and trees and shrubs that were really receptive to burning. A perfect storm of conditions for this fire. You know, we have a role to play in stewarding these forests even once they're protected, and learn the lessons from our indigenous partners that have been doing this for thousands of years. We need to better manage these forests for a warmer, drier climate as a result of climate change.
So for the last 150 years, what we tried to do is just not have fire. Fire's scary, so let's not have any fire. But it turns out you can't do that in this system. So that's what we're trying to do, is manage these forests so we don't have this catastrophic kind of fire, and instead what we're doing is using the mechanical treatments that are quite expensive to prepare ourselves and to prepare the fuels so that we can then go in and burn large acreages on a more regular basis, and over time the landscape becomes less and less and less flammable.
The specific goals of this project, it's 391 acres of mechanical mastication, so grinding and shredding vegetation up to 8 inches in diameter, so about this big. And then an additional 29 acres or so of hand removal, understory hand thinning, to help facilitate prescribed fire in the park moving forward. If we don't do projects like this and we continue to put out the fires that are easy to put out and not put out the fires that are hard to put out, then we're selecting for high intensity fire that will have kind of a homogeneous result with a landscape that looks all the same.
The idea that we can just let nature run its course, it assumes that humans aren't part of nature. And since the Pleistocene, since the retreat of the glaciers, humans have been part of this landscape.
We want all types of fire. Well, you want low intensity fire, you want high intensity fire, you want moderate intensity fire, you want individual tree gaps from a falling tree, you want a couple landslides. You want all these different things to happen to the system, because with each different event, a different host of plants and animals and all natural organisms that live within forests have adapted to that specific event.
You can see the scorched bark on these trees, but they're all alive. So redwoods have incredible natural resiliency to fire. They have very thick bark that protects the living part of the tree from wildfire. They also have a capacity to sprout. So as you're looking through the landscape here, you'll see sprouting both along the bole of the tree, which we would call epicormic sprouting, but you're also seeing sprouting at the base of the tree, which is what we call basal sprouting. Redwood trees recover after fire. They re-sprout and regrow in different ways. There's still a fair amount of what we would call fuel, so dead branches, redwood needles, and other things that have come down since the fire.
There's always things to be done. When you're talking about managing for redwoods, you know, human timescales are a little puny. You come, you go, and they're still here.
A lot of the grant funding for this type of work is on a project-by-project basis. So we're getting a lot of funding to do discrete things, but then there's not a ton of funding to maintain it.
It's expensive work. We're really trying to fix some problems that have developed over hundreds of years, 150 years of fire suppression and logging in this landscape that have impacted these places. Us as a nonprofit partner and the state parks as the landowner can work together to increase resilience on this landscape. We want to make sure that these trees are here for us and for future generations and for all the wildlife and fish that depend on them. We have a role to play in that, and so it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of money and a lot of boots on the ground to reverse that trend and set these forests up for success. is crucial, not just to help the forest recover, but to ensure we don't lose these forests entirely in the next fire.